Hi, I'm Matt and welcome to my latest gaming news video. I'll be covering recent gaming news as well as some other gaming related things in this video. I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please leave a comment below. You can also like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos. I will now get into some gaming news from the past week or so. So I'm starting today's video, gaming news video, with a Microsoft Activision Blizzard update. So the UK's CMA, which is the Competition Markets Authority, who had previously blocked Microsoft's acquisition, mainly because they were worried of the impact it might have on game streaming and other antitrust concerns, I believe. So they've now said that they are seeking more input from the gaming industry. So Microsoft is still trying to get the go-ahead from the CMA, and have recently provided the CMA with an overview of, quote, material changes of circumstances. So the CMA are now looking for more feedback from, apparently the gaming industry in general before they make their decision on whether to accept Microsoft's acquisition plans. Microsoft has said that basically its recent agreement with Sony to keep the Call of Duty games on PlayStation consoles and some European Union related dealings should go far enough to allow its acquisition of Activision Blizzard King to go forwards. It does seem that the CMA is mostly worried about this acquisition due to the effect it might have on game streaming. So the CMA decided that if it blocked the acquisition, that would reduce the likelihood of the still infant but growing game streaming market being monopolized by Microsoft. The European Union streaming license agreement, similar to the Sony agreement, is valid for 10 years. And this seems to be a sticking point the CMA can't agree on. The CMA previously shot down proposals from Microsoft because of these agreements having expiration dates. So they would come to an end like the Sony agreement after about 10 years. And we'll just have to wait and see if the information Microsoft provides to the CMA will be enough to sort of quell its fears, or whether more will need to be done to enable the acquisition. Yeah, if anything else comes up, I've covered this a few times, I think, but because it's fairly big news if it does go forward. So yeah, if anything else comes up regarding this, I'll cover it as and when that happens. Next bit of news is some Nintendo news, actually, some fairly big Nintendo related news. And this is that that leaked information is pointing to Nintendo releasing a Switch successor in the second half of next year, I believe. And apparently dev kits for this new Nintendo console are actually already with developers, so that's interesting. So this was leaked by, quote, multiple people with knowledge, end quote. And while more specific details weren't given, it was actually mentioned that the device would be able to be used portably like the Switch. So it's not like previous Nintendo consoles, and it's staying with the sort of now proven and widely popular Switch portable design. So apparently this Switch successor will release with an LCD display rather than an OLED display like the newer Switch model. I guess the original Switch did just use LCD. So this is likely to bring down cost. But yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't release an OLED model later down the line. The base model Switch as well only has 32 gigabytes of internal storage, but the OLED model does actually have a slightly large storage of 64 gigs. But given how big games have been getting, I'd be surprised if this new Nintendo console didn't have a considerably larger amount of storage. But yeah, it will probably start with the LCD model at like a smaller base amount of storage, and then an OLED unlikely would come later, and that would have double storage or something along those lines. So it appears that the Switch's successor will also have a cartridge slot for physical games like the Switch, but it is unconfirmed actually at the moment. But it may also be backwards compatible with the Switch, both physically and digitally, which is great if that does end up being the case. I am actually kind of surprised Nintendo didn't do an uplifted, like more powerful Switch, or hasn't done so far. As yeah, it has been around since I think some point in 2017, and from what I've heard, that's one issue people are having with it is yeah they want an updated Switch with higher specs. But other than that, it sounds like it's a pretty good console. It's very popular, but yeah, I think it could do with a refresh at some point. But yeah, hopefully this upcoming console will be significantly updated hardware wise, and I'm guessing they will stay with Nvidia as well. So maybe we could see some form of DLSS implemented into games that are released for this console. The Switch has sold very well, actually, selling around I think 125 million copies or units, rather, worldwide. So I'd imagine a lot of people will jump on board with the with this successor, and yeah, more so if Nintendo provides like a worthy upgrade and maybe backwards compatibility as well. I haven't actually played a handheld console since the PSP, I believe. Still the original PSP. I still have my PSP lying around somewhere though. I don't think it works anymore though. Last time I checked on it, I think I remember busting the screen on it years and years ago. And the battery's probably dead by now, I would imagine. But I'm quite interested in the Switch and its potential successor, but I'm not that into portable gaming, like handheld gaming, like on the move or anything. So if I was going to get the Switch or its successor, yeah, I'd likely just play it as dock, like as a standalone console, rather than taking it out a handheld. But yeah, I would actually like to get into some of the newer Zelda games, so maybe this console might be the way to go if it's backwards compatible, or if Nintendo re-release Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for it. I think that would be pretty cool. But we will just have to wait and see how this console turns out, and if it's coming out next year, maybe some point next year. If any more information does come out, then I'll likely cover that in the future, because it'll be fairly big news, considering it'll be a new sort of console generation from Nintendo. And that's the Nintendo news covered. So next up is some Assassin's Creed news, actually. So specifically news related to the next upcoming mainline Assassin's Creed game, which I've covered before, Assassin's Creed Mirage. So according to Ubisoft's lead producer Fabian Salomon, Mirage will take approximately 25 to 30 hours to complete for players wanting to see and do about everything in the game. And will take around 20 hours if you just want to sort of blast through the game, just run through it, I guess, and just do story stuff, maybe some side stuff. But yeah, from what Fabian said, the average time playtesters took to get through the game was 20 to 23 hours. So given the times given and the map size I covered in a previous gaming news episode, this next Assassin's Creed game, Mirage, which is actually set in Baghdad, will be considerably smaller than the previous three mainline games, Valhalla, Odyssey and Origins, and it seems like it could be similar in size to Unity or Revelations, actually. Though I did like the size of Assassin's Creed Origins. That's the last one I've properly played. I plan to play Odyssey at some point. But yeah, I really like the Assassin's Creed Origins map, actually. I think they could still make a good game with this smaller planned map, but hopefully it'll be a more focused sort of map, a lot more detail, a lot more to do. But yeah, as long as there is still like enough interesting content, I think it could be pretty good, actually. But yeah, apparently this this next installment in the franchise will be making a sort of return to the early roots of Assassin's Creed, so that could be pretty cool, going back to the older games and yeah, feature more of the stealth the franchise was originally known for, I guess. Although yeah, I did like some of the newer ones, the Origins that I've played, but it would be cool to see what they could do if they sort of went back to the roots of the series. But I did really like the more like the RPG-esque elements in Assassin's Creed Origins, and yeah, as I said, that's the last Assassin's Creed game I played, but I'm really looking forward to see how Mirage turns out. Hope Ubisoft doesn't mess this up, as they've had a rough couple years, but we'll just have to see. Maybe Mirage will be some sort of redemption for them, or or maybe not. But yeah, have to wait until the 12th of October is when it released to sort of find out, I guess, a few days after, with reviews and things. That's the Ubisoft news over with. Next, a bit of a Remnant 2 update. So just a brief one, though. This is apparently Remnant 2 actually has more than doubled the first game's concurrent player count on Steam. So it looks like that almost 111,000 people, I believe, had at one point been simultaneously playing Remnant 2 the first weekend that it was actually released. So for comparison, the first game, Remnant from the Ashes, has a peak concurrent players of just over 48,000, I think, when I looked. So given that Remnant 2 had around double that, I would say, yeah, that's pretty impressive. So the developers also seemed pretty pleased with this, as you might expect, with them saying, quote, "We are humbled and grateful for the overwhelming positive response from the community. Your support and enthusiasm for Remnant 2 have been truly inspiring," end quote. And then, yeah, this seems like it's doing pretty well for them. Remnant 2 has very positive reviews on Steam. Currently an 80% of user reviews being positive. So yeah, it does seem like it's a pretty good game. The game has also sold over 1 million copies when I checked. So this was in the span of about 4 days. And the developer have said that they will be providing, quote, free editions to the games. So yeah, 1 million seems to be quite a lot of copies. So that's really good. And free content is generally pretty good as well. So hopefully they keep providing content for the game and updating it and things for some time to come, until maybe there's a Remnant 3. I don't know. Just have to wait and see on that front, I guess. So the next bit of news is actually about an upcoming game I've mentioned before, and that is Cities Skylines II. So this news is that according to a new dev diary, City Skyline 2's map is going to be approximately 5 times bigger than the original game's map. So when you start a new game in City Skylines, you choose like a certain map, and the buildable area of the map in the first game, the max buildable area is 33 square kilometers, I believe. But City Skylines 2 will have a fair bit larger, considerably larger playable area at 159 square kilometers. But this will be the max size available for the base game, but there are mods that allow even bigger maps in the first game, actually. So yeah, there are mods available for the original game that expand the total playable area. There's one mod called, I believe it's 81 tiles, and this allows to actually 299 square kilometers of playable area, which is a large jump over the second game's planned sort of base map size. But I would be surprised if modders didn't expand the sequel's map size considerably too. I'm guessing you'll probably need a pretty beefy PC to push the limits of even the base Skylines 2's base maps. So yeah, especially if they're modded to be vastly bigger as well. And yeah, on a related note, a bit more City Skyline news. The developer Colossal Order are, by the looks of things, they've said they're removing the agent limit in the next game as well. So the agent limit refers to how many agents, which are essentially people or services there are in your current game. This could be like a pedestrian just walking around, or someone like driving a car, just like the general sort of, I guess, the population. So yeah, the original game had an agent limit of 65,536, but yeah, the sequel will remove this sort of hard cap, so that's going to be pretty interesting. Apparently it will be unlimited, but yeah, I wonder how PCs will handle that. But yeah, I really like the first City Skylines game, so if this is more the same but with added stuff and sort of increased fidelity, then yeah, I'd be happy with that. The sequel is releasing on the 24th of October this year, so 2023. And yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward to that release, and hopefully it goes well, because yeah, I really like the first game. Played a fair bit of it. And that's that bit done. Move on to some, well, it's a couple bits of actually Baldur's Gate 3 news. So yeah, first bit is some Xbox release news. So I mentioned previous that Larian Studios, the developers of Baldur's Gate 3, are releasing both the PC and PS5 versions of the game before the Xbox versions. PC versions, releasing on the 4th, I believe, and the 3rd of August, and the PS5 version is releasing on, I think, the same day Starfield, so like the 6th of September. But the Xbox versions are releasing later, as they can't quite get these, and so continue to try and make it work. He also said that, quote, "We have quite a few engineers working very hard to do what no other RPG of this scale has achieved: seamless drop-in, drop-out co-op on Series S. We hope to have an update by the end of the year," end quote. So yeah, it looks like an Xbox version won't be releasing until sometime next year. They said that if that all works, the game works essentially fine on the Series X, likely because it is a fair bit more powerful than the Series S. But yeah, hopefully they can work something out, as it does sound like they're putting a lot of hard work and effort into making the Xbox versions work well and seamlessly. I actually have a Series S. I've mentioned that a number of times, but I was just going to get Baldur's Gate 3 on PC anyway, so it's not too much of an issue for me. But I can see Xbox players being frustrated that they can't play the game at the same time as others. So yeah, that would be a bit annoying. But hopefully they can figure something out. So Larian have said that they don't want to drop the feature from the Xbox version, but ultimately compromises may have to be made. I think compromises are acceptable if the game sort of runs fine, and I don't think they'll end up cancelling the Xbox versions. I guess they could cancel the Series S version and make only a Series X compatible version, but then I expect Microsoft would likely not allow Baldur's Gate 3 to release on their consoles, which isn't great. But if I'd say if Microsoft allowed it, I do think only releasing a Series X version would be okay. If they had no other choice, or maybe just release the Series X version and then do the Series S version later. But I'm optimistic, though, that Larian's developers and engineers can figure something out. Sounds like they have a great and dedicated team at Larian Studios. But we just have to see how the Xbox version, more news on that later, how that turns out. But next bit of sort of Baldur's Gate 3 news is Larian has confirmed that on release, Baldur's Gate 3 will be 122 gigabyte in size, and that the game can't actually be preloaded like most other games, and that early access save games will not be compatible with the full release version, as too much has been updated. Larian also said, it's worth starting afresh, as apparently so much has changed. They sort of, when I checked this, they hadn't confirmed, I don't believe, why you can't preload the game, but it is now they've said that it is to do with how early access on Steam works. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how it works, but yeah, they did mention it was to do with early access. So yes, starting a new character seems fair to me. As from what I've heard, the full release game version is sort of a much newer, updated version. But I could see some people being annoyed at that. More so if you put sort of a lot of hours into the early access version recently. I did used to play a lot of games in early access, but not so much anymore, as I do prefer just to wait for the full release. I might buy the odd early access game now, but not as much as I used to. The last game I played sort of extensively during its early access phase was Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, which is a really great game. But yeah, I played that quite early in the early access phase, and I'll go back to that at some point now. It's sort of fully released, I believe. But I'll probably cover how Baldur's Gate 3 is received in next week's episode. Hopefully its full release will go well. It's receiving, as I've mentioned before, very good reviews in its early access phase, so I'd expect it to be even better when it fully releases on the 3rd, or compared to when this video is coming out. It would have been the day before, I believe. And some more Xbox sort of related news next, before some actual more juicy sort of remake news, actually, which I didn't expect. So yeah, Final Fantasy XIV is coming to Xbox Series X and S next spring. Xbox boss Phil Spencer and Final Fantasy XIV director Naoki Yoshida came together at the Final Fantasy XIV Fan Festival 2023. It's a bit of a mouthful. To announce this, along with the announcement of Final Fantasy XIV coming to current gen Xbox consoles. They also actually teased that more Final Fantasy games may come to Xbox consoles in the future. And I believe Final Fantasy 16 is only on PS5 at the moment, but I think that's only a year exclusivity. So that may, I would imagine, come to PC at least, and maybe Xbox. And yeah, this Xbox version of Final Fantasy XIV will run at 4K resolution actually on the Series X, but they did not say how it would run on the Series S. I'm guessing 1440p or 1080p with maybe possibly the use of dynamic resolution, potentially for both consoles, but not quite sure. And the game will be available as a digital-only release, which isn't surprising. I don't actually know if the Final Fantasy XIV ever received a non-digital physical release. But yeah, I haven't played Final Fantasy XIV, but it seems to be one of the most popular MMOs on the market, so I'm guessing any Final Fantasy and MMO fans on Xbox will be, glad of this. Let's move on to some remake news, actually. So, again, another week with remake or remaster news. This time, something I'm very interested in, if it's true. A former employee of Virtuous, the studio behind the upcoming Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake, I believe, that the former employee at that studio is apparently, going by what they've said, working on an Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake. If the former employee is correct, then this is pretty awesome actually. But and I think I'd really like a remake of that game. So this is being claimed, as I said, by a former employee of Virtuous, and the confirmation of their employment is apparently accurate, although the claimed former employee has since deleted the Reddit post where they had mentioned this remake. The subreddit they actually posted this to was the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit. And the user, I guess, slash possibly former employee, posted that the studio Virtuous is working on a project codenamed Alter, which they said is a remake or potentially a remaster of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and that it will use Unreal Engine 5 for the the graphics of the game, the graphical update, and the original Oblivion engine, actually, Gamebryo engine, for the gameplay and physics. I'm unsure how you can sort of combine the two different game engines like this, so I'm not really sure how they can do that to produce a game, but apparently it's through the use of a pairing system, as the article I read says. I think I do actually prefer Oblivion to Skyrim overall, especially the setting, the world, and the sort of story. I think, though, graphically Oblivion doesn't look as good as sort of the latest iterations of Skyrim. But generally I think they're both pretty good games. But I guess graphically I'm not too bothered about them, as they are fairly old games, and you can just use mods anyway to sort of spruce the games up. But yeah, if this is true and correct, then this remake or remaster may release towards the end of 2024 or early 2025. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on any news of this, as I really like Oblivion. I'm pretty sure it was the first Elder Scrolls game that I played actually, and I do want to do another playthrough of both Oblivion and Skyrim, as it's been a number of years since I played either of them. But maybe if this remake is definitely true and confirmed, then maybe I'll just wait for that. We'll just have to see. Next bit of news is some Star Wars Jedi Survivor news. So it was recently announced during earnings briefing from Electronic Arts that Star Wars Jedi Survivor will be coming to last-gen consoles, so the PS4 and Xbox One consoles, and that this version is actually in the early stages of development at Respawn Entertainment. I think I've covered Star Wars Jedi Survivor before. I think maybe once in a past video, because it was having like performance issues, mostly on PC, but apparently on consoles as well, but not as bad. I am kind of surprised that Star Wars Jedi Survivor will be receiving a last-gen release, as the game is seemingly pretty demanding. I didn't think Respawn or EA, for that matter, would be willing to put the effort in to get it running properly on the PS4 and Xbox One. Though saying that, the Xbox Series S has around the same performance as the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, I believe. So yeah, maybe it won't be too difficult to get it running to an acceptable level. I suspect it'll be more difficult to get it up to scratch on the sort of non-refreshed variants of those last gen consoles. So the original PS4 and Xbox One, maybe. One thing the Series S does have, though, over the older consoles is that it has a high speed SSD as standard, so they might have some trouble getting Jedi Survivor running adequately on like a hard drive based system, potentially. And yeah, interestingly, Respawn's game director had said in the past that they were going to skip the PS4 and Xbox One consoles, but yeah, given this news, I guess the studio's mind has now changed. We'll have to maybe update that when it's released, a bit of news on that, if it's yeah, just to see how it runs, I guess. And finally, some quick Saints Row news before we move into the new and upcoming games. So the Saints Row reboot game, or I guess I'll just refer to it as Saints Row 2022, is releasing on Steam on August the 24th. I'm pretty sure when I checked, it was August 24th. So it was previously available on consoles and on PC through the Epic Games Store, alongside this release announcement for a Steam release. A third expansion was also revealed, and that's releasing August the 8th. From what I've seen and sort of read, this new Saints Row game isn't that good, especially when compared to the old games. Saints Row 2022 has a Metascore, depending on the platform, between 61 and 65, and a user score of between 2.5 and 2.9. So yeah, that's not good. I did watch actually G-Man Live's review for the game, and he really didn't like it. I might give it a go someday, but probably not anytime soon. I really like the first sort of 3 Saints Row games. Those are the only ones I've played, especially Saints Row 2. Played a fair bit of that back in the day on the 360, but yeah, going by how this new one has been reviewed, it seems like it doesn't hold up too well in comparison to those older games. But it'll be interesting to see how the Steam reviews turn out, I guess. Maybe they've improved the game, or maybe they have not. I'm guessing the latter, but just have to wait and see. It might be a lot better now. Some badly reviewed games turned out better a few years later. So it will be yeah, interesting to see when it releases on Steam. So yeah, that's the main sort of news side of stuff done. Main news, gaming news section. So next I'll move into some new and upcoming games. So yeah, I feel there isn't too much releasing over the next week, at least compared to the week previously with Baldur's Gate and a bunch of other games. But yeah, here's some of the games that I picked that are coming out the following week. The first game is actually a game called Hammer of Virtue. So I wasn't going to include this game, but after taking a better look at it, the game, yeah, has some pretty cool physics-based gameplay, which I sometimes like in games. It's described as a hammer-smashing action game where you use your hammer for combat and to smash up the environment. From the video I watched on Steam, this looks like it could be fun and quite chaotic, so if you like physics-based combat games, where you can sort of fool around, this might be one to check out. The main gameplay seems to be just sort of smashing up the environment, including like buildings and like other things you can smash up, and sort of hitting enemies, including armored dinosaurs, from what I can see with your hammer. Not sure it's a game I'd like, but I do like some physics games. I'm just not sure this is one for me. And Hammer of Virtue is releasing for PC on Steam on the 7th of August. There was also a demo if you wanted to try it on Steam before you sort of consider it. And there was also actually a PS5 release planned for sometime in 2024. The next upcoming game is I Am Future Cozy Apocalypse Survival. Quite an interesting name. So yeah, this game is a survival game set in a flooded post-apocalyptic city where you have a sort of rooftop base. So the developers say that it's a relaxing game, so I couldn't imagine it being too difficult. It seems quite light-hearted when compared to how some other survival games can sort of feel and look. And the nice colourful art style actually helps with that, I think. as with other survival games, you can set up a farm, cook your food, craft tools from other resources, and all that usual survival stuff. But you can also, as the developer says, automate chores. So I'm guessing this means sort of resource gathering. And apparently, you can do this with robots that you can recruit. There also seems to be actually an interesting story revolving around you sort of figuring out what happened to the world and what went wrong and stuff, I guess. So the game is called, I Am Future Cozy Pockets Survival. It does look quite cool. I might have to keep an eye on this game, as I do like survival games. And yeah, if it turns out to be any good, I might get it on the full release. And the game is releasing for PC on Steam on the 8th of August, and it's an early access game. It also does have a demo, so you can try that if you like. And now on to the next upcoming game, which is Atlas Fallen. This is a game that looks really cool design-wise. It looks good. And it's very nice graphics. It is being developed actually by Decken 13, who have made a number of good games, including Crosscode, Chained Echoes, the Surge games, and some other older games like Ankh and Venetica, among others. The game is actually being published by Focus Entertainment, who were formerly Focus Home Interactive, who have published a ton of games over the years. But this new game looks like it will be an action adventure RPG, one where you hunt legendary monsters all across a large open world desert. I think it's just desert, as far as I could tell. Graphically, it looks very nice, and the combat actually looks pretty good too. The gameplay and world look very magical and sort of fantasy based, and its sort of custom skills and abilities look quite in depth. So there's probably a good amount of character sort of builds and creation you can do. So Atlas Fallen is releasing on current consoles on the 9th of current gen consoles on the 9th of August, and on PC on the 10th of August. I'm sure why the day later for PC. Yeah, I do like the look of this game, so we'll be waiting to see how it's received on launch. Hopefully it turns out pretty good. Just a quick one next. So Stray is the next game, and this will be just a quick coverage of it. I know it's already out, but it's finally coming to current and last gen consoles. So Stray is a very popular game, but if you don't know, you essentially play a stray cat that lives in a sort of robot field, sort of cyber city, I guess, where humans have disappeared and you must escape the city and find your family, I believe. I haven't played Stray, but I do want it at some point. It's very well reviewed. It has around 110,000 reviews on Steam, with 97% of overall user reviews being positive. So yeah, that's pretty incredible review score there for that many, especially for that many reviews. So yes, finally releasing on Xbox Series X and S, as well as Xbox One consoles on the 10th of August. The final upcoming game for today is actually one that I really like the look of. It's another early access game, but one that looks really cool actually. It's called Sengoku Dynasty. You may have realized going by that name that it is set in sort of Sengoku period of Japan. The developers for this game also made Medieval Dynasty, a game I mentioned in a previous video that I do want to play. I really want to give that a go at some point, which has very positive reviews. So I'm guessing it will be similar or have similar elements to that game. And like Medieval Dynasty, Sengoku Dynasty will have you surviving, crafting, and sort of exploring a world, but this time set in, Sengoku period of medieval Japan. I like Medieval Dynasty as well. The game, also looks pretty good graphically, and the world they've shown off in the screenshots and videos looks very nice. It is actually an Unreal Engine 5 game, whereas Medieval Dynasty was Unreal Engine 4. But I'm quite interested in the world and the setting, and from what I've seen, it looks great. So definitely be keeping an eye on this one. I don't usually buy, as I mentioned earlier, or play many early access games anymore. I usually like to wait for the full release. Or although if this does turn out to be as well received as Medieval Dynasty, then I may pick that up before its full release. And Sengoku Dynasty is releasing in early access on Steam on the 10th of August. It's only coming to PC at the moment, but Medieval Dynasty is available on current and last gen consoles, so I would expect a console release will follow, likely when the game is fully released. So that's it for the upcoming games, and we'll move on to some game deals on this week, just on Steam. So as usual, these sort of my picks from games that are currently on sale. So first up is the Tomb Raider franchise. So all of the Tomb Raider games on Steam are on sale individually, or you can get them as a bundle if you buy the Tomb Raider collection. I've played most of the older Tomb Raider games, haven't completed all of them, but have at least played some of them. And yeah, generally they're pretty good, like action adventures or puzzle platform games. The oldest ones can be a bit rough to play these days, I guess, but they are still pretty good games. But they were from the PS1 generation, so they do look a bit blocky. Yeah, we recently went back through Tomb Raider 2013, footage actually of which is likely being used for this video. And I'm currently going through Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I'm really enjoying. So I'm really looking forward to playing the latest game in the series, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, next. But yeah, I played Tomb Raider 2013 at release, but not the two latest ones. So yeah, I want to go back through, play the 2013 one, and now on to Rise and then Shadow. But you can get each individual Tomb Raider game on Steam for, I think they are all around 80% off, or you can buy the collection, which I believe includes every Tomb Raider game, bar the mobile ones, and that's for around £12 or $12, which is 86% off. So yeah, I would say to get all the games for that price is well worth it. You get the older games and the sort of the PS2 360 era games and the newest sort of reboot series, and yeah, for 86% off, that's definitely worth it for that many games that you can just play through. And yeah, the Tomb Raider sort of franchise deals will be running until the 12th of August. And the next deal, actually, I wanted to cover is kind of two games, I guess, but is American Truck Simulator. It's on a fairly hefty discount, actually. I've not played this entry in the Truck Simulator franchise, but I have played Euro Truck Simulator 2. It's a game I sort of jump back into and play every now and then. Sometimes it might just play it for like a couple of weeks and sort of continue my career while listening to videos, YouTube videos or podcasts. It's quite a great game for that. So yeah, if you're into sort of Euro Truck, or I've never played one of these games, you could try American Truck Simulator. It's got an overwhelmingly positive user rating of on Steam, with 97% of recent and 96% of overall reviews being positive, with over 100,000 reviews, which yeah, another game with a pretty incredible rating for that many reviews. And yeah, American Truck Simulator is 75% off, going for the base game, and the DLCs and expansions are also on deal if you wanted to check them out. I did want to mention that yeah, Euro Truck Simulator 2 is also on deal at 75% off. So yeah, the deals for those two games will run until the August the 10th. And Planet Zoo is the next game I'll cover in this deal section. As you might realise, it's a zoo management game, kind of similar to the Zoo Tycoon games, which are a series of games I love, especially the first game, which I still play sometimes on my Windows XP PC. I have a copy of Zoo Tycoon Complete Collection. It actually still holds up pretty well. It's still a really great game. I haven't played the most recent Zoo Tycoon or Planet Zoo either, actually. As yeah, I got both of them not too long ago on deal, and yeah, haven't got around to playing them yet. Maybe I'm a little concerned that they won't hold up to the sort of OG Zoo Tycoon, but I'm sure they'll be fine. They both got very positive review ratings on Steam. They both look really good. I just haven't got around to playing them yet. And the latest Microsoft or Xbox Zoo Tycoon isn't on sale, but Planet Zoo is. So if you're into these types of games, maybe give Planet Zoo a go, or you could wait until the latest Zoo Tycoon goes on to sale. It is available on Game Pass, actually, I think, the sort of Xbox and Microsoft one. So yeah, that's an option too if you wanted to try a zoo sort of simulation game. The Planet Zoo developers also made Planet Coaster and the Jurassic World Evolution Management games. I actually didn't realize this, but they also made Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which is actually a good game, but not the older games in that series, I don't think, unless they were going by a different name. But yeah, Planet Zoo Standard and Deluxe editions are on sale at 70% off until the 7th of August, and the Animal and other expansions, or DLCs, I guess, are also on sale during this time. And the final game for today's deal section is a game called Lake. So this is a story-focused delivery game set in 1986. It actually looks really nice and has sort of a cartoony, soft, colourful look to it. Some of the Steam tags say it's sort of relaxing and cozy, which is a vibe I get from the trailer and the screenshot. So if you want a more chilled out game, this this might be one to check out. The game's visuals definitely fit this sort of chilled out feel. It is a delivery game primarily by the looks, but with a heavy focus on story and characters. So if you're into story focused stuff, might be a game to check out. But yeah, I would like to try this game at some point in the future. It does seem quite interesting. It does have a very positive review rating on Steam, so that's good to know. And yeah, Lake is currently on sale until the 7th of August and has a discount of 50% off. There's also a demo available, another game with a demo available for download if you want to try it first. So that's the gaming deals section done, and got another video spotlight section quickly next before I sort of wrap up and get into the outro. So yeah, this is actually a video by a YouTuber called Michael MJD, and I hadn't seen any of his videos before this, so this is the first time I'd seen his videos. But he's actually playing Minecraft on Windows 98. But yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I always like videos like this with older sort of retro hardware. Yeah, really cool video. So yeah, go check that out. I won't spoil or anything or say too much or anything more about it. But yeah, that's Michael MJD's video. I'll link it in the description, and yeah, I'll get into the sort of wrap the video up now. And yeah, that's basically all the game coverage from me today. I will be publishing a tech news video tomorrow, so check that out. Check that then. Yeah, if you're interested in tech news as well as gaming news. And as always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like or dislike and leave a comment. If you enjoy my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.